Wir wollen unseren Kunden natürlich auch immer was Besonderes bieten, was Neues bieten.
We are always looking to offer our customers something special and new, typically linking it to anniversaries, birthdays and other celebrations. There will be a very big event in 2023.
2023 ein ganz großes Event.
Marco Löffler is on his way to the DTP department in Göppingen to look at the first rendering of a completely new design together with Oliver Strobel. The product managers at Märklin have worked with this engine a lot. Now it has a milestone birthday.
The Flying Scotsman wird in diesem Jahr 100
The Flying Scotsman is turning 100 in 2023. We took the opportunity to create a model of this beautiful, most spectacular locomotive. The CAD construction has piqued our interest about the HAVO model.
Wir haben aber viele angesetzte Details.
However, we have many applied details, such as brass-etched parts. These include the boiler bands, for one thing, which I think is very nice. They are not painted on boiler rings, but attached separately, finely detailed rings. We have separately applied many of the lines, pumps and also the Flying Scotsman's train shield to the front of the locomotive. In combination, this makes for a wonderfully coherent look. The metal model has a high-efficiency propulsion with a flywheel in the boiler. The driver's cab is furnished in great detail. The tender houses the electronics and the loudspeaker. There is an adjustable close coupler between the locomotive and the tender. And now on to the popular prototype locomotive.
Well, why it's famous is really it's been a part of publicity and marketing ever since 1924, when it went to what was then the biggest exhibition the world had ever seen, the British Empire exhibition.
At the time it bore its original road number 4472 and caused quite a stir.
When it was first built in the UK, when those engines were new, they were actually bigger than the preceding types of locomotives. They started a sort of big engine policy round on the railways of the UK. And the most important one really is the LNER way back, who called it the most famous train in the world, because of course the locomotive is named after the train, the Flying Scotsman. It's the one locomotive that everybody knows. As a locomotive, it's quite interesting. It's a Gresley Pacific, so it's a three-cylinder Pacific, a bit like the 03s in Germany. And when they took the locomotive in for overhaul, basically what they discovered was a very tired machine.
There was nothing left to do but to completely dismantle it after the findings and refurbish all the parts, which took over 10 years. On the 25th of February 2016, the legend took to the rails again for the first time, from London to York.
The tender's almost unique in that it's got a corridor through it.
Thanks to this passage, a change of personnel could be carried out while the train was rolling non-stop. And what's more, the men in the driver's cab didn't even have to do without a very important drink for Brits.
The driver, I kid you not, can be offered a cup of tea as he's going along, because basically, there's a coach behind.
The shield visible from afar, which refers to the famous locomotive name, and also the double chimney, give the engine a striking appearance. The smoke deflectors also add to this effect. Incidentally, the locomotive received its road number 6003 after 1948. The aim of the refurbishment was also to restore it to its last condition before it was withdrawn from service by the British Railways.
It's as close as you can get to how it was when it was withdrawn from British Railways in 1963.
The sight of the engine brings back memories.
My father was a railwayman, so I got taken out on rail tours when I was a child. So I had a ride by Flying Scotsman now at about 6. So if you're an enthusiast of any kind or interested in railway history, you've kind of followed the story of this locomotive over time. And it's quite a picturesque story. It's a memory-making machine.
There was a popular atmosphere in York. Half the city was on its feet to welcome the legend, which has found a secure future at the local railroad museum, where it can continue to make history.
Das war die erste Lokomotive, die 100 miles per hour.
This was the first locomotive to reach 100 miles per hour, or just under 160 kilometers per hour for the first time. It became world famous above all with the Flying Scotsman train run, after which it was also named. It ran the entire Flying Scotsman non-stop train route from London to Edinburgh. This was, of course, a fascinatingly long range for a steam locomotive. Our first model was created from molded parts, which is not yet completely detailed. The brass parts, such as the fine smoke deflectors, are very nice to see here, or the boiler rings, which are also made of brass. Many switchable digital functions will be built in. Thanks to the standard smoke generator, a speed-dependent dynamic steam output is possible. The buffer height corresponds to the NEM. The prototype isn't just running on the island.
Sie war auf Promotour in den USA.
When it was on a promotional tour in the USA, it was slightly rebuilt there and also had the well-known US bull bar on the front. And in 1988, it topped its world record by completing the longest non-stop run of a steam locomotive while in Australia. It's hard to get more famous than that.
Mehr Bekanntheitsgrad kann man natürlich nicht erlangen.
Or is it? Märklin and Trix friends will ensure on their layouts that many more model railroaders will embrace this wonderful engine. The model railroader has plenty to work with when it comes to the car theme.
Modellbahn muss natürlich Spaß machen und der Flying
Model railroading must also be fun. The Flying Scotsman always hold high-quality classic trains, and the Pullman Edelweiss cars that we have currently announced in the trade show novelties, or the Orient Express cars that have been around for the last few years, are beautiful cars that can be attached to this locomotive. Orthodox model railroaders will wince here, but let's be honest. Don't the Orient Express cars behind the demo model look beautiful?
Sie ist wirklich schön, sie ist anders, sie hat diesen...
It is really beautiful and different. It has a British flair that other European locomotives simply don't have. For me, this engine is one of my 3 favorite locomotives.
Highlights an schönen Lokomotiven.